Team Hoyt consists of a father and a son. The father you can see here in the blue shirt. His name is Dick Hoyt, and his son is Rick Hoyt. And Dick Hoyt and Rick Hoyt run. Oh, they run a lot. Since 1975, Team Hoyt has run in 64 marathons, 206 triathlons, 6 Ironman triathlons, 204 10K runs. Since 1975, this dynamic duo has crossed over 1,000 finish lines. In fact, a few summers ago, they crossed the United States. Only one half of Team Hoyt can run. Dick the dad can, Rick the son can't. Rick's legs don't work. When Rick was born in 1962, there was an umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, stealing oxygen from his brain and starving his body with coordination. Rick Hoyt can't bathe himself. He can't feed himself. He can't dress himself. But Rick Hoyt, the son, he can think. He really can. He graduated from high school. Rick, the son, graduated from college. But Rick always wanted to run. Dick, the dad, didn't like to run. But if you're a dad or even a mom, you understand. You do what you have to do to connect with your children. So Dick placed Rick in a wheelchair, started running. And they just haven't stopped running since. Marvelous picture here of the faith that the son has in his father, right? The son is really completely helpless here, right? He's completely dependent upon his father to lift him, pull him, push him, tow him. The son is entirely dependent upon the love and strength of the Father. That is a good way to understand the second sign of Jesus in John chapter 4. You know, we're in this sermon series looking at the 7 signs of salvation. Jesus' miracles in John's gospel. If you were here last week, you realize that there's seven, the perfect number in the Bible. Jesus comes to restore everything in our lives. Today we look at this second sign about this father, royal official, and his son. And a good way to summarize Jesus' second sign, his second miracle in John's gospel, is to simply say that the son is entirely dependent upon the love and strength of the Father. And this father's frantic. He's freaking out. He's having his 19th nervous breakdown. Why is that? This is how the narrative begins. There was a certain royal official, and that's the father, okay, whose son lay sick in Capernaum. So in large part, this narrative, this second sign, is about a father and a son. And of course, the son is absolutely dependent upon the love and strength of the father. The father's a royal official. What does that mean? He's a politician. He's a mover and shaker. He's got connections. He's got money. But all that doesn't matter a whole lot when your son's dying. We're told later in John 4 that he's sick with a fever. This royal official, most of the time, he's on the top of his game. But not now. He's brought to his knees because his son is brought to death's doorstep. But this royal official, this politician, we don't know if he was a Democrat or Republican, be that as it may, this royal official hears good news. Jesus has come back to the Galilean region. Jesus is in Cana of Galilee. And so this royal official hightails it fast as he can, right? He lives in Capernaum, but he's getting to Cana, where Jesus had earlier turned water into wine. He's getting to Cana as quickly as possible. He's taking the fast track. We need a map, don't we? Where is Capernaum? Where is Canaan? There's Cana. You can see that right there. Capernaum is right there. It's about 20 miles is all between these two places. Remember, the royal official, the frantic father with the dying son, he's in Capernaum. Jesus, Cana. Now, what you also need to realize is that Capernaum is 600 feet below sea level. It is indicated by the grave on the map. Everything on the grave, that's below sea level. Cana is 3,000 feet above sea level. Get it? If you are going to go from Capernaum to Cana, it's going to be 3,600 feet all uphill. You know about uphill climbs, don't you? You're probably on an uphill climb right now, right? We all know what it's like to get up in the morning and see Mount Everest right in front of us. What is it for you today? Right now? What is it that is causing your stomach to churn and burn? What is it that's causing you to say, pass the Rolaids, I need the Tums, where's the Pepto-Bismol? What is it that is breaking your heart, that is causing your heart to feel like it's being sliced and split by 1,000 sharp knives? Is it bad blood in your family? Is it a bad back in your body? Maybe it's a bad rap on the job. Maybe it's a bad break in finances. What is your uphill climb? This father frantically goes from Capernaum to Cana. 3,600 feet, all uphill, and he finds Jesus. He follows the crowds to Jesus, and this royal official, this frantic father, says, Jesus, my son is dying. He's back in Capernaum. You got to come with me. There's no time to waste. It's 911. It's an emergency. We have to go now. What does Jesus say? This is an interesting response. Jesus said to him, the frantic father, the politician, unless you people see signs and wonders, you simply will not believe. What's strange about this is that Jesus doesn't address directly the frantic father. It's noted by the two words I've highlighted for us, you people. Who's the you people? The you people would be the crowd in Cana of Galilee. The you people would be the Galileans. The you people would be everybody. The you people would be you. Be me too. And Jesus says, all people make this mistake. And what's the mistake? The mistake we make all the time is seeing is believing. If I see it, I'll believe it. I got to see it to believe it. So Jesus, come with me to Capernaum so I can see it. Then I'll believe it. Bible calls that sin. The Bible says if you want to grow as a Christian, you'll never get there that way. You can't live your life saying, well, when I see it, I'll believe it. Well, this describes me to a T. No wonder I lived 20 years in the state of Missouri. Missouri, what's it called? What's the motto of Missouri? The show me state. Lord, show me. I want to see signs and wonders. Then I'll believe. Then I'll believe. Jesus goes on. in the next couple verses and says to this royal official, this frantic father, as the royal official says, come down, right? Down, right? It's going to be 3,600 feet down, going from Cana to Capernaum. Before my child dies, I got to see you do it. And here's how Jesus responds. Go, your son lives. What? What? Jesus, you just want me to take you at your word? You're not going to come to Capernaum with me? This father has a choice to make, doesn't he? Is he simply going to trust the word of Jesus, or is he going to insist that he keep begging Jesus to come to Capernaum so he can see it and then believe it? Is this father going to pretend like he's in the state of Missouri and say, Lord, show me? Or is he simply going to go, as Jesus says, and believe that as Jesus says it, that settles it? What's he going to do? What would you do? What have you done? Well, this frantic father, transitioning the second point of the sermon, has a fantastic faith. Look what happens. It says, the man, this royal official, this politician, the frantic father, now has fantastic faith. He took Jesus at his word. That's it. Period. Wow. If you want a great commentary on this second sign in John chapter 4, consider these words in John chapter 20, verse 29, where Jesus says, blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. See, faith doesn't need to see it. Faith doesn't need to feel it. Faith doesn't need to understand it one single bit. Blessed are those who have not seen, not felt, not understood, and yet dare to believe. Believing. This radical belief in the word of Jesus is the great goal of John's gospel. In fact, the verb believe appears 97 times. Get it? 97 times in 21 chapters in John's gospel. John 20 verses 30 and 31 puts it this way. Quote, Jesus did many other miraculous signs in the presence of his disciples. Right? We're looking at 7. John records 7, but he said he did a whole lot more than 7 that are not written in this book. Verse 31, John 20. But these are written, these 7 signs are written, that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. Jesus has come to plant in you a faith that simply takes him at his word. Jesus has come so we don't have to freak out and worry and be filled with anxiety all the time. Jesus has come to give us a faith that doesn't need to see it, feel it, understand it, to believe it. This is fantastic faith. But look at these next couple verses. When he, now that would be the royal official, the politician, was still on the way, the way home to Capernaum, he'd been in Cana, his servants met him with the news that his boy was living. When he inquired as to the time when his son got better, they said to him, the fever left him yesterday at the 7th hour. Then the father realized that this was the exact time at which Jesus had said to him, your son will live. The father is not in a big hurry. He's taking his own sweet time. This event happened the next day, the day after the miracle had happened, as signaled by this all-important word here, yesterday. This royal official, the following day, he's just taken his own sweet time back to Cana, and he meets his servants. And they say, your son's alive. He's been healed. The fever has left him. And the royal official says, well, when did that happen? They said, what? About the 7th hour, which would be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The prior day. Yesterday. That's one of the most amazing words in this narrative. Yesterday. Would you have done that? If you have a word from Jesus that the person you love dearly has been healed, would you just hang around in Cana? It's only about a 4 to 5 hour walk from Cana to Capernaum, and you understand the geography, it's all downhill. Why doesn't the royal official go back that same day? Because of his fantastic faith. Jesus said it. I'm just going to hang out here in Cana. I'm not going to rush back to Capernaum. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. This frantic father has a fantastic faith, but this faith has a firm foundation, part 3 of this sermon, a firm foundation. Your faith in Jesus is not knocking on wood. Your faith in Jesus is not pie in the sky. Your faith in Jesus is not a blind roll of the dice. No, your faith in Jesus has a firm foundation, as signaled by the central gift of this narrative. 3 times, John 4, 50, 51, 53, we have these 3 words. Your son lives. Your son lives. You see, what Jesus says is always true. This will greatly simplify your life. Everything Jesus says is true. Everything. Your son lives. Our Christian faith has a firm foundation. But there's more. There's more entailed in these 3 words, your son lives. There's another son in John's gospel. And this son, he actually died. He just didn't get sick and was healed. No, the son in John's gospel, he died. You know about that, don't you? Arrested abruptly, tried unjustly, sentenced callously, mocked repeatedly, abandoned ruthlessly, beaten brutally, crucified barbarously, but risen triumphantly. Risen triumphantly. Your son lives. That's the whole point of the 4th gospel. Jesus was dead, now he's alive. He was crucified, now he's risen. Your faith has a firm foundation on the perfect word of Jesus and upon the fact that he is real. Jesus lives. That means whatever weakness you have, Christ's strength is stronger. Whatever problems you have, Christ's love is bigger. Whatever sin you have, Christ's grace covers it all. Jesus lives. So often, let's be honest, we feel like that frantic father at the beginning of our narrative in John 4. Freaked out, frenzied. And it's all what? It's all uphill. Then we feel like we're at the end of our rope. Like we don't have anywhere to turn. I have exhausted all of my knowledge, all my contacts, all my resources, all my wisdom. I don't know where to go. Do you know that feeling? If that's where you're at right now, that's good news. That's great news. If you've come to the end of your rope and you don't know where to turn, congratulations. This is your great day. Because that's where faith is born. When you exhaust all of you and you turn to Jesus. What does that look like, though? I mean, really, what does that fantastic faith look like? This is what it looks like. Being absolutely dependent upon our Heavenly Father to lift us, pull us, push us, tow us, forgive us, empower us. That's what genuine saving faith looks like. It's a faith that depends entirely upon the love and strength of the Father to push me and you across the finish line every single time.